weekend action, football. How do you see the Manchester derby going?
I can't see past City, can you? I can't see past them.
No.
But they're strange games, those derbies. Remember that 2-0 when Pogba scored? I know Pogba's in the headlines today, but do you remember that about 4 years ago? 2-0 down.
Jeez.
And he scored, I think it was 2 headers he scores. So there's always that can knock them out. And those games are always, because the crowd is different and because the city's different and the players know this is not just a normal game, maybe there's something in it. Maybe. Bearing in mind, Chelsea locked up there a couple of weeks ago. We could have won that game. We'd done enough to win it. It was 1-1. They scored a late equaliser. Of course they did, as they always do. But it wouldn't surprise me, if there is a little bit of a twist in the tail. But I'm going City to win it after Haaland was doing midweek.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rashford obviously as well. He's come out today and said that he thinks the criticism that he's getting is a little bit unfair. Mm-hmm. I had this discussion with Dean last night when it was a great show. That, by the way, Dean Saunders, brilliant show. I heard it. Honestly, got the listening figures back.
I heard the show. I heard the show, and I was in
the graphs. Honestly, I don't know why it was just boomed. The graph boomed with listening figures.
I have to say, I heard the show, and when I got home, mate, my dog turned it off.
Your dog was asleep.
He was asleep. Yeah. Good, poor thing.
But no, I was having this discussion with Dean about Marcus Rashford and how he needs to understand the reality of where he's at and the fact that his body language and his running and the way he looks on a football pitch ain't good enough. He's got to work harder as a football player on a football pitch for Man United. Whether he's playing him out of position, whether he's, not happy with the manager or he's, they're not getting on. I mean, what a load of old garbage. You've got to have pride in your performance, haven't you? And go out there and put, when you put... We was having this discussion about Conor Gallagher, right? We had a really good discussion about Conor before we come on, saying, I'll tell you what that boy lacks in quality, because he's not a Zidane, he's not a Jude Bellingham, but I'll tell you what, he's got character. I'll tell you what, he's got fight, he's got heart. And you can forgive a lot when people make mistakes or they're not quite there with the quality. But when you've got the heart and desire to run around for your football club and wear your heart on your sleeve and work hard and know what it means to play for a big team, Conor Gallagher's got that in abundance. I look at Marcus Rashford and I think you need to look at him and see what he's doing, because he's better. He's a better player than him.
But let's rewind 12 months, right? Marcus Rashford was doing exactly what you're talking about right now. What's changed? What's happened? How has he now gone from being one of the most talked about footballers in the country, on the top of his game, coming out off the back of what was a really good World Cup from him, and then excelling that from World Cup into the Premier League, and then 12 months later, 13, 14 months later, it doesn't mirror that. Where's that gone? The body language of football nowadays is so interesting because they know that they're being watched in all angles. Social media, BBC, Sky, talkSPORT, every single media outlet, everyone is watching them. And I think these footballers now can feel a little bit, I'm not happy and I'm going to show people. And I think there's a little bit of that knocking about. But Marcus needs to be very careful about what he does now, how he does it and what this displays, because the future of Ten Hag, no one knows. Right? We don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if this time next year he's not in charge of United.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Chances are he's going to be there. But you need to be very careful about how you plot your future and about what you do and how, in particular, the modern game, using the likes of social media. This is a very different world that you and I grew up in.
Yeah.
Very different world. And also there's now Ratcliffe's come in. What does he see? How does he see Man United moving forward as a football club in the future? What manager does he want? How does he see the players reacting to the manager? I think you need to be the best version of yourself right now. Mm-hmm. And it feels, I don't know, Marcus seems a bit conflicted about what he was, who he is, what he wants to be, how he, all of that right now.
Would you start him at the weekend against Man City?
That's a 50-50, mate, that one. That's a 50-50. Probably. Go and show me them. Go on, then.
Yeah.
What you got under the bonnet?
Yeah.
Show me.
Show me what you're about.
Show me. You put this statement out today, well, then go and prove it.
Yeah.
That's a big stage. We know he scored there. I've seen the games he's played there. He's capable. In the big games, he is capable. But it feels a little bit, to me, like he's...
going through the motions.
Yes, a little bit. And step out that shadow. Go and show everyone. Show everyone we're wrong.
By the way, I've got some Rashford statements here because I want to read them out to people because it is a talking point. Man United fans can have their say on this. This is what he had to say on recent criticism that he's been getting. If you ever question my commitment to United, that's when I have to speak up. It's like somebody questioning my entire identity and everything I stand for as a man. I grew up here. I've played for this club since I was a boy. My family turned down life-changing money when I was a kid so I could wear this badge. I can take any criticism, I can take any headline from podcasts, social media and the papers, I can take it. But if you start questioning my commitment to this club and my love of football and bringing my family into it, then I'd simply ask you to have a bit more humanity.
So here's the thing, bringing his family into it, I don't understand.
I don't know where that's come from.
Okay.
It's not from us. But
so it doesn't matter about what that bit you can scrub out. Commitment, ability, we don't doubt. Commitment, you can always doubt because that's something you have to do yourself. There's only you can do that.
Yeah.
And his performances, let's be brutally honest, have not been of the level. And there's after we went through with COVID with him, and I've read the statement, I briefly read it, he feels perhaps that there's something going on. There's a bit of a hangover with what he did with attacking the government. Maybe there's a little bit of that as well. Maybe there is a lot of baggage that he's still got to deal with. But ultimately, he's paid as a footballer to perform on the pitch. And your job is to perform for Manchester United and wear the badge and put your
at the end of the day, you look at his body language. It's no good. His body language says it all.
But I've seen this before from players. He's not alone. Footballers can do this. And people question about the commitment. There were rumours in the press 3 days ago that he's fallen out with Ten Hag. Maybe he doesn't trust him anymore. Maybe he feels that he's not the manager to get the best out of him. And when that happens, that relationship breaks down, you don't perform your best in any relationship, whether it be your partner, whether it be your boss, whether it be your work colleague. When that relationship breaks down and you don't trust what you're being told, how you're meant to work with that person, how you're meant to get on, performances drop. Yeah. It can happen very quickly. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that Ten Hag's at the full here. What I'm saying is that I think there might be something a little bit deeper, bearing in mind he's put this out. Okay, let's go to Paul. He's a Man United fan. All right, Paul?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good, Paul. How are you?
P-Dog?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Go on, we're talking about Marcus Rashford's statement here. Obviously, he's having a bit of a tough time.
Yeah, he's becoming embarrassing, this guy. 8 years, he's done all his talking in the press and none of his talking on the pitch. And I think he needs to understand that. And, I heard what you said just now, Jason, but, he's had a problem with Ten Hag, problem with Solskjaer, problem with Mourinho, problem with Rangnick. At some point, you just got to put your effort in. I don't care if you don't get on with the manager. You get on the pitch, you put your effort in. That's it. Doesn't matter whether you get on with it. If you're no good, you're no good. And, it's, last season, his goals effectively covered up poor performances, the same performances I've seen for 8 years, but his goals covered it up, and everyone said he had a great season. Last season was not Marcus Rashford's normal season. Last season was his blip. This season is his normal season. Has been for 8 years, 7 out of 8 years. This is his normality. And he has got to stop. I asked myself the question, why has he done this? Why do you think he's done this today? Because there's more to it than meets the eye. My view is he's trying to engineer a move out. I see no other reason to do this. I can't think of any player in the Premier League who comes out with a statement like this. Any half-decent player. Think of any player you like at any club. Can you imagine them coming out with a statement like this? And lastly, just in response to Marcus, in terms of, he says, when people question my commitment, that's why I'm speaking up. Do you know whose commitment we don't question? We don't question any player in any club who puts 100% on the pitch. Even if they're an awful football player, we don't question their commitment. The only commitment we question are the players who do not show commitment on the football pitch. That's it. Mm-hmm. So from my perspective, I see this as him engineering the move out. I think he wants to get out. I hope he does. I've said for a long time that no Manchester United team that challenges for the title will have Bruno Fernandes or Marcus Rashford in it. So for me, I hope if we get 50 million from PSG, I'd snap it, take it. take it and run. But there's something wrong with this kid. There's something wrong that he is constantly in the press. He's constantly talking, constantly got PR teams, constantly got messages on Instagram or whatever, Twitter, whatever it is. There's something wrong with his mentality. And it seems to me it's all geared towards what he's going to do when he finishes playing football. Everything to me seems to be setting him up for some sort of role for when he finishes playing football.
Explain that.
So fine.
Explain that.
Well, okay. And listen, what he did in COVID, fantastic. No one's going to say anything. I'm not convinced that was he suddenly turned up and said, this is what I want to do. It seems to me that everything has been very carefully packaged to create a brand that will have 20 to 30 years in some context, some meaningful, probably income context, but some meaningful context after football, because he is not acting like a football player. He's not talking like a football player. He's not playing like a football player. Everything for 8 years, maybe with the exception of last year, has been a distraction. Everything to me looks like somebody who's waiting for his career to end to be put somewhere else. I don't know who his team is or what they're doing, but if I was looking behind the scenes, I think there's a much bigger plan here for Marcus Rashford.
Okay,
he might want. He might want.
Paul, you make some really interesting comments there. So look, who knows what he's planning for? Where the part I will agree with Paul there is, what's he doing?
What do you mean?
What's he doing? Why is he putting statements out? What's he doing?
Well, because players have got a voice now, James. It's not like the old days where you didn't have social media. You had to wait for an interview.
Your voice is when the ball's at your feet. That's your voice. And I'm not sure that Paul's speculating about where Rashford's trying to position himself, where he wants to be. Look, Gary Neville has moved from being a Man United legend into a media legend, and now I don't follow him, I don't watch what he does, but politically he has a voice, right? I just wonder whether Paul's trying to say that he wants to kind of position himself somewhere. I couldn't care less about that. All I'm here to talk about is him as the footballer.
Yeah.
The truth is, he's not delivering right now, why are we talking about it? Because it's public interest.
Yeah, well, he's a huge football player.
But do you know what? These statements that come out, these Twitter statements, social media, do you know what? There's only one way you can really talk as a footballer.
On the pitch.
And that's when the ball's at your feet. And Marcus Rashford can do that. He can silence people.
Is that why you had to go into media? Because you couldn't do anything with a ball at your feet?
There was a lot.
Didn't have a voice with the ball at your feet, did you?
I used to shout, and I still do. The ball at my feet, but I just feel that I think he makes some really interesting points.
Keepers away!
Keepers away is a great shout. That's the greatest shout. For someone that's never played football, that's a keeper, by the way.
Yeah, keepers away.
Keepers away. That's their shout.
Yeah.
They do that, don't they?
Yeah.
They come for a cross and they're really not getting it. Keepers, and then when they know they're not getting there, they go away. So you can hear it. Keepers away! That's in literally the same 3 seconds.
Then what was your one? What was your go-to?
Cundy away!
Sorry, Stewart!
Sorry. He never scored.
Rid.
Never saw a Stewart score a goal, mate, I told you. But going back to Pogba to Rashford, it does feel as though that there's a moment in his life now. Where does he go? Where's he going to be in 12 months? Where's he going to be? Because the club is moving. Is he going to move with them?
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.